Black women over 40, let's talk about the parts of you that's still seeking to be picked. Let's talk about it. So, Valentine's Day has passed us. So, this is a good time to have this conversation. I was sitting back thinking about all the things that I've seen on social media about women talking about Valentine's, if they got a gift, didn't get a gift, dealing with someone, and all the different things, right? But here we are. Let's have the conversation. We should want Valentine's every day. We should want romance every day. We shouldn't have to wait for one day, right? But Valentine's Day to me is like one of the most low bar holidays, right? Low bar. I feel like when you go into the grocery stores, I feel like this particular year, I mean, it's probably been all the other years as well, but this particular year, I felt like I'm going into the grocery store to get a loaf of bread, and it was like, boom, balloons, this, that, this, chocolates, flowers, roses. I mean, it was just all over the place. And to not get something if you are dealing with someone, even if it was just a dinner or even not a dinner, just the acknowledgement of it. And I get it. People say, oh, it's man-made, it's this, it's that. Christmas is man-made and we still celebrate Christmas, okay? Everything is man-made and we still celebrate it. But if an individual can't take that time out to just acknowledge, and even on the other side for the women too, a lot to be thought about, in my opinion. But nevertheless, let's talk about the part of being picked and being chosen. Where did that need come from? Where did the need of wanting to be picked and chosen and be in, and if you're not picked, let's put it that way, not being picked makes you feel you're not worthy. Where did that come from? I'm going to speak on my opinion, and I want you to chime in and let me know your thoughts and opinion. I feel it comes from childhood wounds, starting with, for a woman's perspective, father. I have been an individual at one point in time where I wanted to be chosen. And I feel like you sit back and you think about, oh, your father, you're this, that, and the third. Now, I do feel like when individuals say, oh, I want a woman who comes from a two-parent household, things like that, I hear you. Well, I know people that come from two-parent households and they are a total freaking wreck. Yeah, you have statistics behind it and things like that, but I do feel like you can still be in a household and still not get love. You can be in a household and see, yes, two parents be together. That doesn't mean that it gave you quality, it gave you this, because that's what you saw. Doesn't mean, you guys get what I'm saying. But nevertheless, I feel it comes from childhood wounds. I can speak for me. I know my wound when I was seeking to be chosen came from like, what? Why aren't I good enough? Then you look at, how your father, he wasn't in your life. And another thing, I'm rearing off here. When people sit and say, oh, a woman when she doesn't have her father, she's this, she's that. They never look at it from the female's perspective or the young girl's perspective. They always look at it. No, they never look at it from the father who left. They always look at it from the woman's perspective. Oh, she didn't have, so she don't know. She's not valued. They never look at it as the dude, like, oh, why he wasn't there for her. If a woman is young and she's a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, they don't know. But again, me speaking from my own experience and again, my own opinion, but I do feel that need of wanting to be chosen stems from childhood trauma. In addition, society norms. You have TV shows, you have movies, you have books, romance, telling women that you're not nothing, not unless you're tied to a man. And your life is not valued if you're not married. That's like being married is like the epitome of being a woman. You're nothing. But meanwhile, single women live longer than married women. And married men live longer than single men. Make it make sense. And that's statistics too. Another thing that makes women feel the need of being chosen, the Bible. What is it? Proverbs 31. This Bible tells women what they're supposed to be. They're not valued if they're not with a man. A man who finds a wife will be favored. I'm not a Bible thumper, so I think I've mentioned that stuff. I'm not religious by any way. I'm very spiritual, but not religious. No, the Bible, the church. And meanwhile, if we sit back and think about how marriage came about before the church got involved and gave out marriage certificates, before the government came into it and gave out marriage license, women were never valued. Women were never valued. So back in the day, you had fathers who gave their daughters to other men's sons as an exchange of trying to keep things alive. You know, I'll give you this goat for this land. Here's my daughter. Yeah. Yeah. And then also past relationships. Past relationships. Past relationships, you know, you feel like you may have dealt with somebody that didn't treat you good. And you're like, I'm going to try even harder in this next relationship. And I feel like my opinion, it should be, you definitely have to work to get to know somebody. You definitely have to learn them if they learn you. But I feel like when you get to a certain point in life and age, it's like if everything is going good and everything is smooth, you date, you see how it goes. A significant time passed and you try to make it more official. And during that time, you're still getting to know each other. You're still doing everything. You're still doing what you're doing before. You're just doing it with each other. That's just my opinion. But, you know, I choose to stay, you know, I date, but I choose to stay more on the single side of things because it's rough out here. Baby, 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 baby. And plus, you know, I like my life. I do. I do. And I also feel if you're dealing with someone, and dealing with them for a significant amount of time, and you have to ask what things are, then you know what they are. If that person hasn't made it clear, or you guys haven't even had a conversation about it, you don't want to put it all on one person. But, you know, men want to lead. So if they don't bring it up and say, hey, but if y'all don't have the conversation in general, then you know what your answer is. But all these different trauma things can definitely make you feel like you're trying to get chose, trying to get picked. I'm going to prove myself. No, don't do it. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. But this is for, you know, this is my opinion, okay? and for someone who's single, if you're married, because sometimes people can be in marriages and still not be chosen. I see it. I have seen it. So yeah, sometimes just being married, somebody can sit and say, yeah, I'm not in these streets anymore. But in all reality, the woman or the man could be out doing extracurricular activities, you know. So it's a catch-22 in anything that you do. If you stay single, you get married, it's all, you know. I feel like we get so caught up in society. I feel like if people are going to make a commitment, they have to do it the way that's best beneficial for them, you know. And sometimes people are afraid to have those conversations. Everybody wants to be so traditional and they want to be so society norms. And sometimes everything's not cookie cutter. Everything's not cookie cutter at all. So how can we get past this whole wanting to be chosen? How can we get past that? Choose yourself first. Choose yourself first. Now, did it take me a minute to get there? Absolutely. Have I been out on dates and, you know, you felt like it was going to happen, you know, time has passed and then next thing you know, it's nothing? Yeah. You just move on. You just move on. It can be hurtful. Easier said than done. Get a hobby. We're getting cold here. But no, go for self-validation. Go for self-validation. You know who you are. You know what you have accomplished and you know what you hold and you know bring to the table. You know, but first you got to know what's at the table, okay? What's at this table? Sometimes us women, we be the whole table, okay? Push to the side, push to the side, push to the side. But no, self-validation. Know who you are. Be happy where you are and appreciate yourself. Don't seek no external validation. And also emotional reparenting. That's something that I had to do. And it was hard. And it was even harder knowing that my father is still here. And I'm going to give you a little extra. Him now wanting that relationship with me because now all the people that he neglected me for is not there for him. That's why I always say, if you have daughters, and I know my audience is predominantly women, but for those men that do watch and listen, if you have daughters, nieces, all the things, cousins, female, be in their life. Because there's going to be a time where you're going to need. Yeah, people go to nursing homes and can get a nurse and can do this and can do that. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is just not being there. And, I remember I did a video on healing my father wound. And I'll link it somewhere below. And I never forget my aunt told me, let the past be the past. Like, just whatever he did, oh well. He's your father. Oh, she thought, he's your father. And it's like, you had things done to you too. And I feel like sometimes people get so caught up in letting people hurt them. It's like being in a domestic violence relationship. You sit there and get your tail beat, and don't leave. But you stay because, well, he's my husband. No. But how to become your safe place and not even worrying about being chosen. Just live without abandonment. Don't abandon yourself. Put yourself first. Whatever you say you're going to do for yourself, make sure you do it. Make sure you do it. Just because someone else had let you down, don't let yourself down. And that's how you don't worry about being chosen. And I know it's easier said than done. Things take time, and there's all other techniques that you can do. But I'm speaking from a place of experience for myself and things that I've done for myself to grow to the woman that I am today. Okay? Because I'll tell you one thing. We all have trauma some way, somehow. I don't care how perfect, how well of a home you were brought up in. It may not be a parent wound. It may be a different wound. A wound is a wound. Trauma is trauma. And nobody's trauma is bigger or lower than the next. Trauma is trauma because we all handle things differently. And also give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. And when you choose yourself, you stop begging to be chosen. But there's nothing wrong with asking for clarity. But once you ask for clarity, know what it is. Okay? I love this for us. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please share this with another Black woman over 40. And like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all the things. And I will catch you in the next conversation.